Alright y'all, we back with another reaction video, and if you didn't know, of course the presidential debate was a couple of days ago. I mean, some people might not.
Maybe if you're living under a rock.
Yeah, well, if you're living under a rock and you don't pay attention to news or social media or whatever, presidential debate did happen a couple of days ago. There were some highs and some lows, some very funny moments, but
going into this, like, where were you guys this is like very early for a presidential debate to happen. Yeah, and I was like presidential debate, and I hear everybody talking about it. I was like, in June?
I wasn't expecting this to happen in June. I was expecting this toward like September. You know.
One thing I wasn't anticipating was some damn humor, some comedy between these two guys.
Absolutely. Going into this, I had already heard, you know, everybody was seeing that Donald Trump was, everybody expecting him to win because he was promoting like tariffs and stuff. So a lot of people were automatically assuming that, you know, it's probably gonna be an easy victory for Donald Trump, and he's already got the vote for a lot of states. But we're gonna, you know, react to this.
I don't remember anything notable that Biden said except for taxing the rich.
Yeah,
what did he say? 20%? 20% instead of 8? It's like, huh?
Yeah.
But I'm not even a terrorist guy. I don't even like terrorists, like when it comes to politics. But you know, I think Trump had a better argument.
Yeah,
he did.
Let's go ahead and get to this video.
President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy.
The youngest? When was this? Like
maybe like 50 years ago.
Yeah, the baby boomer age.
I remember seeing him pretty young. So I mean, he's probably talking about when he was like 50.
Yeah, it's accurate. Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious coming from him.
I'm 6 years younger and a lot less competent.
Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took two cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, and I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter. But I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care,
well, how do you feel about
sure that,
that report coming out after the debate that Biden had a cold?
I do want to ask you something. Do you think it was a bit of political malpractice by his staff to announce midway into the debate that he had a cold and not let people know that early on so they could have lowered the bar so people could have been ready for what we saw of Joe Biden in the beginning? You know, and again,
he's under the weather.
Oh, yeah, I saw that in the comment section, and then somebody ratioed the guy by saying, like, stop making excuses.
I mean,
but
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not gonna take an excuse because, like, wow,
he's old, so I mean,
it's expected.
But, like,
older people get sick all the time.
Yeah, and going into
this is not
this part, this is
this is terrible.
Well, I think partially what the problem is because did y'all see the speech that he gave, like the day after?
Oh yeah, bro, this speech was kind of hilarious.
Okay, so thing is this, and I had a conversation with my mom about this. Biden has never been a good debater. And the fact that we got to keep it a being. His mental acuity, he was not sharp that night. He was not sharp. I didn't know we had 1,000 trillionaires in America.
Number two, you got $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
I didn't know that. Damn.
He stumbled on that line.
Yeah, like that's just kind of crazy. That's just him not being sharp. I mean, if you can blame that on the code if you want, that's just him not being sharp. But he's never been a good debater. Trump, he is a businessman. He's been on television before. He's a BS artist. He knows how to talk. He doesn't need notes. Like, Trump has been interviewed countless times, hour and a half interview talking about politics, talking about, policies, no notes. So this is his lane. That's why I thought it was kind of peculiar that the Biden administration was pushing this debate, because it's just like, why do you want to have a debate so early right now? It just really wasn't necessary.
Yeah, he came unprepared, which is kind of bad. It's kind of reminds me of like Ronald Reagan when he was with the whole debate, because like he was an actor before this, so he was already on the cameras and stuff. So
you can't really prepare.
He smoked that nigga.
Yeah, like
What year was that, man?
But you can't really prepare for this stuff unless you have the questions ahead of time.
Yeah,
you can't prepare for this.
It was 84. He smoked that nigga. I forgot who he went against.
Yeah, it was
too,
because he went against Jimmy Carter in 80. Yeah. He won that one handily, but the 184, he just smoked it. I was like, dang.
But I wasn't shocked to see that.
He smoked live. That's crazy.
I wasn't shocked to see that he was more prepared for the speech, because he can prepare himself on that. You have time for preparation, but he got that prep time. But for this, ain't really a whole lot you can do. Yeah, and you're aging. Like, it was pretty bad, dog. Like, I watched the whole thing and it was just bad. Like, he could barely keep his eyes open. His mouth was just open.
He was looking down a lot too.
Like Biden, you're letting flies in, dog. Like, close your mouth, sir. Like, it was just, he just seemed kind of irritated throughout the whole thing. I was just like, his age is really showed. That's just all I can think about throughout the duration of this debate.
Biden reminds me of, do you ever remember that SpongeBob episode about that like old dried up worm where she was saying chocolate? Mm-hmm. That's what Biden reminds me of for some reason. Hey, shout out to Timothy Craddock. He put us on. He really put all of us on that U.S. history. So
yeah, it's fact.
And we know a little something
because he made it entertaining.
Definitely.
Is that a Timothy Craddock shout out?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, I wish I had bro socials.
Yeah, but this.
Probably get add him on Facebook or something.
Facebook.
But what we talking about right
now,
what they're talking about right now is healthcare. So.
To strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we had to do with.
Thank you, Mr. President. They interrupted him.
Mr. President.
Well, they let him talk for like a minute or two, but like he was just stumbling.
Oh, CNN. Also, y'all are not slick. Yeah, y'all are not slick trying to save that man. He don't have it, man. He just doesn't have it, sir.
Well, yeah, they interrupted him multiple times during the debate. I thought it was pretty funny, but he was just going on and on with no ending. It was like a run-on sentence that was just in fragments. Like, it was terrible.
No,
it was horrific. This is a horrific performance.
I got a question for you guys. I saw this on Twitter the other day. Do you guys think that, you know how you have to be a certain age to put yourself, like you have to be 35 to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
Do you think that there should be a maximum age?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I think it's at that point.
Yeah,
it's at that point.
It's at that point.
There's some younger candidates, honestly, too.
Yeah, we do, because, I mean.
Because, like, what if Biden happens to get back elected as president for a second term and not wishing on anything, but, he just happens to pass.
Make it.
Yeah, he croaks. And do we really want Kamala Harris as our...
She's less popular than him. Like,
exactly.
It's bad.
Like, a lot of people don't even like her. So,
who likes her?
Are we really...
Nobody.
We
need a new era.
We
need a new era of politicians. It's that time now. This is the old guard.
What's the politician? What's the politician that wanted Aaron Rodgers as his... that was JFK's,
Robert.
Great grandson?
I think so.
Yeah, he wants Aaron Rodgers as his
That'd be
vice
interesting.
president. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers is actually pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, he seems pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, because I watched
credible.
it was some interview that he did, and he knew like a whole lot about. It was some book that I think somebody that was a politician or something wrote, and he kind of knew. He knew what he was talking about.
I mean, that's cool, but that's on like.
That's a lot for
like the pressure. Not like this is
so.
more so about how can you handle pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know if what you do on the football field and what you do political space is very different spaces. But does Aaron Rodgers really handle pressure that well? I don't know. So when you get on this stage, so when you get on this stage, nah, man, I don't really know about that.
Hey, but when you
we'll be entering a new era.
What about this though?
This presidential election.
Mr. Politician himself, Mr. 40,000 points himself, LeBron James. Because I mean, everybody thinks that he can do everything.
No, he would have the popular vote.
China.
But he would. I think that he would make
though. But
LeBron's foreign policy would be hilarious.
Bro, LeBron. I just want to hear what LeBron was saying in the freaking debate, bro.
He would be. He would be.
The first question I'll ask him is, LeBron James, what's your foreign policy? Dude, that's all I need to hear from LeBron James.
LeBron James.
If he stutters and folds like he did in the 11 finals, then I know the type of person he is.
You know,
I think he'd be terrible.
And then somebody they probably bring up.
I think Rich Paul could write a crazy speech for him though.
But I feel like somebody bring up. They'd be like, LeBron, you ever read this book or you ever saw this video about?
LeBron's never read a book
about what Donald Trump said or Obama or
what
said. He'd be like,
he'd
be like, that was one of my favorite videos. That's one of my favorite videos I ever seen. So yeah, I definitely know.
That's my favorite saying.
Insert clip.
I like that.
Insert clip about when they asked him about when he was reading the Malcolm X book.
So you're holding the autobiography of Malcolm X along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago. Read and a lot of notes over the years. This is my first time actually reading this from start to finish. Very smart man. Very, very, very smart man. Basically, his words in the 60s and what was going on is actually what's going on today still. It's unbelievable to kind of read something that's coming directly from him. Wish I had an opportunity to meet him. It's a pretty interesting book so far.
Oh, you said Malcolm X. Yeah, he's a great leader. Great man.
What he did in the 60s is a lot of that's what's happening today. Okay, sir.
Okay, buddy. Okay. Anyway, back to the video.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President.
Oh, no, your phone's cut him off.
We wasted like half the minute just
and they are on a time thing.
Yeah, they're on like a 1 or 2 time.
Bro, watching that real time, I was like, what?
I gotta
what?
I gotta go back. Hold up.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President.
Play Trump's reaction. It was funny.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Boys, right?
He
didn't beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Damn thing. And these people should be in jail. And they should be the ones who are being held.
Okay, so now January 6th.
Let them all out. And now he says that he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins? And
all right, I think here you go.
You will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say the strongest statement.
See, this is what I don't like. What kind of question is that? Like the wording of that question is kind of like it's like a pressing type of question. I understand it, but it's just like.
We should pull up that clip of that crazy question that they asked LeBron James in 2018.
LeBron, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. From listening to everybody's reaction to the play at the end with JR getting the rebound, there's still confusion about whether JR thought the game was tied or whether he thought you guys were ahead. From where you stood on the court and from talking to him after the play, what's your reaction to it? What's your version?
What do you mean, what's my version?
Did he think that the game was tied, or did he think that you guys had it salted away?
How do I know that?
Or did you discuss it at all with him at the end of the play?
No. They asked me if I talked to JR about it. I said no already. I don't know what JR was thinking. I don't know the question you were trying to ask.
You knew exactly what his state of mind was. Did he think that you guys had it won, or did he think he was trying to make a play? Not sure.
What do you mean I'm not sure? No, I don't know his state of mind.
Did you know if he knew the score?
Thank you.
Or he threw on them glasses and walked off.
Like it's like what? Like what are you trying to?
Or that question.
That's the one where he had the purse.
Why's your why's your name KD?
Like what kind of what?
I don't know.
What type of
I
response
feel like the way
do
she
you want?
just formulated that question was kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't worded.
Yeah, I didn't like
the question in itself is not a good question, but the way she formulated it is like kind of.
It was kind of demeaning.
Yeah. It was kind of to ask Trump or basically tell him
it's force baiting. It's a force baiting question.
It's to ego.
Yeah, like
you know he's not gonna do that.
Nah.
So yeah. The question was worded terribly.
Yeah.
That's a CNN type question.
In addition to the speech I made, in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about
I can close your mouth.
small number of people that went to the
He looks like a real old man. He looks like somebody.
That's what I'm saying.
He looks like somebody I can see out in the
Nancy
garden.
Pelosi said it was her responsibility.
You got neighbors that look like this, dog.
Loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that
He's
more
so
than anybody.
slouched.
And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I would feel right now. I'd be
He makes
at
sure.
one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. Russia would have
That is a
never
good point.
attacked.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results
Here
of
we
the
go.
election, regardless of who wins?
But he didn't
Yes or
answer your
no,
question.
please?
He already
If
did.
it's
Yeah.
a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous.
See, I don't like how she asked him the question.
Yeah, like he answered the question.
Because
one of these
if you can pause it real quick.
He just didn't answer the question the way that she wanted him to.
Yeah, because even when they said like in like the entire debate, or like the 1 hour, 1.5 hours, you know how long it was, the dude was like, "We're gonna ask you the questions, and however you respond, that's how you respond." So OG asked a question to kind of, that's not even a follow-up question.
Then another thing.
Repeat the
On a lot of
question.
times, like that's why like people are just watching the clips and they actually watch the context of the debate. So a lot of times when he's like when they're saying that he's dodging the question, a lot of times what happens is that like Biden, like they asked Biden a question and Trump wants to actually respond to what he said. So they'll like ask Biden a question, Biden will answer, and then they'll ask Trump a different question. Trump is actually trying to respond.
Yeah, that's not that takes away from it being a debate. That takes away from it being a debate.
So it's not him. It's not him avoiding the question. It's really just him trying to respond.
It's more like a questionnaire.
Yeah, and they did that because of the previous one of them just talking over each other. But
that one.
Yeah, it's really not. It's really not. Did he avoid some questions? Yes, but it's really not him avoiding questions. He really trying to respond to him because he really just wants to respond to him. Then they'll ask Trump a follow-up question, and then he'll like kind of answer the question a little bit. But that's really what it was. Like, it's not really him avoiding the question. He's just trying to give a response because it's not really a debate.
Why are you trying to laugh?
Well, absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that then I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Talk about it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. You lost the first time. You continued to appeal to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there was all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time. The only person on this stage is a convicted felon, is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax.
Spanish?
But he doesn't do anything. What did he say?
He said, we want to do this, we want to do that.
Go back.
Oh, yeah.
No, before that.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to.
Ronald Reagan said something like that.
He was his dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never
politicians, they just tell you what you want to hear.
Never. Of course. Just like Israel.
That's why, you can pause real quick. Like, I think that what a lot of people do is that they're choosing somebody to vote for based on if they like the person or not. Like you said, like Ronald Reagan said, he's right. You can't trust a politician.
No.
Like, you have to follow what they do. Okay, so when somebody is running and it's just their first time running,
they're gonna tell you all the right things that you want to hear.
But for somebody that's a higher standard has to be on somebody that's trying to go for re-election, because you have to base on what they have done and what they will continue to do, not if you like them as a person. Like Donald Trump, do I believe he's a criminal? Yes, but absolutely. But my thing is, I think that we could put all of these people in front of a jury, and they would all be convicted felons because politicians don't have good track records. They're not good people.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you look back on probably almost every president, they probably looked at some confidential files that, you know, they're legally not bound to look at. So, I mean, I mean, this isn't nothing new. I mean, Trump is the only person that's looked at, you know, these illegal documents that he's not supposed to. I mean, it's probably every president that has.
Do we want to go back to Hillary Clinton and deleting all them damn emails? I mean, like that happens.
It happens in politicians, like he said.
Like that's actually the job of a president, is to hide the dirt. Like, because if dirt gets exposed to the public, there'll be too much panic. Yeah. And one of the biggest jobs for a president who really doesn't have that much authority is to
hide all that and make it easy for, you know, the people that live here. You don't want to put the whole country in fear. So I mean, you're gonna have to hide something.
As a leader of the free world, your job is to put on a good face. Yeah. You're just the mask. Yeah, the showman, the mascot. Yeah. So,
which, I mean, I think Trump does well because he's a businessman. So that's why when you look at Trump as a president, he's a good president in that aspect because he's a businessman and he's a negotiable. So he's gonna know what to do compared to Joe Biden. Now, the other things that Donald Trump does on the outside, that's a whole different discussion. But when you look at what matters, Donald Trump is actually going to get the job done.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's one thing that we all have to do is that we all have to pay taxes and we all have to go to work. So during that time period, pre-COVID, Americans were making the most money that they've ever made in a very, very long time. And a lot of people started businesses during that time. Mm-hmm. And then post, like now you have this entrepreneurial state that we're in, the people having multiple sources of income. A lot of that happened during that time period. I think that that's something that we have to evaluate the most, is how does this affect our jobs? How does this affect our taxes that we pay? And how does this affect the potentiality of the money that we can make? I think that those are things that we need to look at first, primarily. Everything else should be secondary, in my opinion. But everybody has different things of what they consider when they're voting. So
yeah, so I mean, this goes to like almost everybody, you know, with a job or business that you're trying to start. So if Donald Trump wins, you would want, that's a good thing for you, because I mean the equity is going to be
the economy
higher.
is going to go up.
So
ideally,
yeah.
In a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept.
Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one. And you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since they passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker, you're the loser. I support Roe v. Wade.
Like, you pause it. That could have been executed so much better, but then he started talking about his son, and that's when he kind of lost me a little bit. Like,
that's too irrational,
too emotional. Irrational. Like,
pretty funny though.
Yeah, but that could have been done so much better.
Yeah, he could have cooked with that one.
He could. That was like the low light.
But once he started talking about his son, he kind of just drifted off of.
You're like, no disrespect, Joe Biden. Your son is not a good person to bring up. Like, he kind of hurts your image. Lie.
Yeah, it's a really bad look.
Yeah.
I didn't like that right there.
Nah.
That was
definitely nice.
Trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous.
He can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and close his mouth. Like, nobody wants that.
He looks so confused.
Nobody
you see them have to help him off the stage.
Simply not true.
This dude is like empty. I tell you, this dude is like FDR in his lifetime.
I heard that he bikes frequently.
That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not going to
about that.
Sorry, what?
Period. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do.
That's his best point.
That's true.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Everything he said was true.
Position where we have 800,000.
That's Trump's Achilles heel is how he handled the pandemic.
There's more to be done. Working class people are still in
Worst
trouble.
thing he did.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929.
Got to that point though, damn near. That like Biden, that's what he has to go to. Pandemic.
That's what I was bringing up. That's like dude's Achilles heel.
I would stand on that the whole time.
That's his best argument, man.
Yes, that really is. Because that's how you won. That's how you won in 2020. It's really what you won off of. You gotta hammer that. Like, I want to know. My biggest thing is I want to know what the Biden administration is doing. I want to know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. But it was entertaining.
Yeah, it definitely was.
I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that in 2020.
I need another one. Really do. But I don't know if we're gonna get another one.
But they usually do too.
They do, but they can kind of Trump because Trump he didn't have to do another one. So it's something that they have to agree upon. And if I was Trump, I wouldn't do another one for what?
I keep it where it was.
Yeah, you baked them. Yeah. So then it happened so early. People are gonna have a lot of time to dwell on this situation because it was really bad. So I would just kind of let it rock and let's just get to those polls and see what happens. It would make no sense for them to go again.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
kind
that.
of so, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we really got.
I think it was
the life of the future.
I think it was a missed opportunity by the Biden administration. I don't know why he did it so early.
All right, so the question of the day is America cooked?
Of course, I mean, we've been cooked for a minute.
We've been cooked.
Honestly, if you look at there's a book that I used to read. I forgot the dude who was on. He's like a famous businessman. It's like his place is like called like something Gate. Bridgewater. It's what's his name? I can't remember his name. But like, you know, if you just look at the history of the world and like how like different economies have lasted like after their tenure. So of course, like look at the 1800s, 1700s, 1900s. Look at like England, China, before like the 1600s. How all these empires have gone.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah, it's looking at the end of the era. And in our era, if you look at our era, really started. Well,
I don't think it's something that a politician can stop.
Yeah, I understand
it's
that.
Inevitable.
I understand that, but I'm just talking about the country.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
America could like
we're in agreement.
Yeah. We're cooked we're down. Like we're going down. Other establishments like China, India's doing really good.
Oh yeah.
Economically, phenomenally good.
It's gonna be one of those two.
Yeah.
One of those powers.
I'll put my pots in India.
Financially,
That's what I would do.
Absolutely.
Financially. I feel like they're doing like really. I think they are doing really well. So yeah, we're just in the downturn ever since because you know we started being the big superpower after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So and it kind of is our time. If you look at like the Dutch, England, you know, China.
I think that's the hardest pill for us to swallow. Yeah. But my thing is, like I said, that's a
downturn.
Yeah, it's definitely a downturn, and I feel like that's fine. I just think that we're too caught up in things that don't really matter. Like we get sidetracked on things that are honestly, and from a holistic standpoint, are irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, and we know what those things are. We're just too fixated on them, and we need to kind of understand what is really important, which is the financial aspect and what our country does economically. And that's what these other nations, they don't really have a problem with, which is why they're superseding us. But I agree with CJ, it's the end of an empire.
Yeah.
Rome
just looking at the trajectory.
Yeah. Like all great empires come to an end.
It's inevitable, but you can definitely see, you can definitely see the downturn in our economy. So,
I mean, look at our candidates. Like, we don't really have any. Do we have any uprising politicians.
No, it's really just repeating.
So this era needs to die.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so it can be.
This probably gonna be the last election, guys like this.
Yeah.
And then 2028 is gonna be completely different.
We'll have new candidates.
Yeah, it's gonna be new candidates.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a person who starts. So that's why I think and honestly, we've been in such a long peacetime that really people don't like to admit this, but wars do change like places and countries for the worse and for the better.
Yeah.
So wars do bring change. So that's I'm not out here wishing for war, but that's just something we've been in a long peace term.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I read this. I wrote a project about this, about how all wars are banker wars, because all wars at the end of the day, they're about money. And so, when you lose a war, it plummets you financially. And the reasons why countries go into wars are always because of money, always for the monetary aspect. So yeah, I do see stuff like that on the horizon. And I think that in order to set up a better future, the right pieces have to be in play. Right now, currently constructed, we're not paying attention to those types of things because we think that we can stay on top. And when you have that mentality, then when wars do come into play, or when financial downturn does happen, we're not prepared for it. We need to start getting in the preparation phases now. Well, really yesterday, should have been doing it. I just think that we're not prepared. So there needs to be it just has to be a change of perspective right now, honestly. But like I said, man, it'll be good entertainment. That's why people get paid. People go to school to make those types of decisions. But I think it'll be good entertainment in November, man. That's what I'm here for.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your 2024 presidential debate. Of course, we'll get more information on the whole election and stuff like that later on towards the fall and stuff. But we will catch y'all later.